welcome to Hot Topics. I'm Marnie Yu, your host, Prescott Valley Chamber of Commerce. Wow, I love that. And here we are with our last show of 2018. And where has the year gone, Mark? We've been doing this how many years now? 13! Almost. And so, lots of good things. It's been a great year. We've been celebrating the town of Prescott Valley's 40th anniversary all year long. So, we've had fun, we've had laughs, great events and activities going on all year long. So, wrapping up the show will be Vice Mayor Laura Lee Lai to kind of share just what we've had in the background and what's coming up in 2019. For the Chamber of Commerce, 2019 means we're celebrating 45 years of serving the business and community of Prescott Valley. So we'll be planning a lot of special events and activities and tagging our 45th anniversary on with that. And yes, the Chamber did start earlier than the town of Prescott Valley, which means the foundation for the town was really the business community. So kudos to our businesses that continue to keep the town thriving and growing and prosperity and economic development and all the great things. So we'll be talking about that as we go on through the rest of the year and our shows. But right now we've got a lot of great topics going on, so I'm just bring up Hope Hooper. When you think of 2019, you think of January, the first month. The biggest event that we always love kicking off the season is a polar bear splash. Yeah. Hope's going to talk about that, and of course also our New Year's Eve activities here in the town of Prescott Valley. Please, Hope Hooper, Parks and Recreation.
Thank you, Marty. So, Polar Bear Splash. It's a big event and it's coming up fast. So get ready. It's looking like it might be a little bit chillier than it was last year. Last year we, to kick off our 40th anniversary, we wanted to have 40 bears and we got almost 70 bears that jumped in the water. I have a feeling we won't get that many this year just because of the cold, but we'll see. If you're brave enough, come on out. The event is Saturday, January 5th, which is going to be your first Saturday in the new year, and the event runs from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Takes place at the Mountain Valley Splash Pool, which is part of Mountain Valley Park in Prescott Valley. And we're going to have some great stuff going on. We're doing our free pancake breakfast as usual, this year provided by IHOP. So a big thank you out to them for helping us out with the event this year. And then we have some contests that we do throughout the day. One that we added last year that we'll be bringing back is a donut eating contest. Super fun, and even if you don't want to participate, it's probably one of the funniest things I've ever watched, watching people get powdered sugar all over their faces. So come and either watch that or join in the fun. You get a free donut and maybe win a prize with it too, so if you're the first one to finish. And then we also have our duck slide race, which is super popular. We send all the ducks down the slide, and we have our Ice Princess pick out one duck to win a huge prize, which we are working on getting. So right now we're getting donations for this event, including that prize. And the Ice Princess is someone who wins a prize earlier in the day. It's our hairiest man. So they are crowned the Ice Princess for the day, and they get a prize as well for doing that. So that's another one of our contests we'll have. And we'll also have an ice cream eating contest. And we had someone who had won about 6 years in a row and was unseated last year. So it's going to be it was Brady from the Chamber. Brady Cabral won last year. He was amazing. Now she came in a close second. So we're hoping that those two head off again this year. And make sure you get out there and compete against them, because it's very prestigious to win an ice cream eating contest in January. It's not something everyone can do. So we hope to see you there. Once we finish all our contests, we'll have a plunge where all the bears jump in. We have prizes at the bottom of the pool, so you can win little extra things and some big extra things, depending on how our local businesses help us out this year. And then every polar bear gets a prize for jumping in as well. So no one leaves empty-handed from this event. It's really cool. And if you're a business that would like to participate by making donations or sponsoring this event in any way, please give give us a call at 928-759-3090 or stop by the Parks and Recreation Department on the 3rd floor of the Civic Center, 7501 East Civic Circle in Prescott Valley, and we'll get you set up to make a donation and recognize you at the event and through our marketing as we approach the event. So super fun. It's a great way to participate in the community, whether you are one of those businesses or if you're someone that just wants to come to the event and have a great time. And before that event, we have our New Year's Eve event, and that'll happen on December 31st. Go figure. We'll be having an event at the Event Center parking lot from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. For those of you that joined us last year, maybe did some ice skating beforehand and then came out for games and a bonfire. We do s'mores. The police are kind enough to come out and help us with some hot chocolate. And then we also have the fire department there. They help us with the huge bonfire, which this year will be even larger. We have a giant ruby slipper that we will be saying goodbye to at our New Year's Eve event. So it was a lovely float throughout the year. You may have seen it at different parades throughout the year. And now we're going to burn it in celebration of a new year. Moving on, we're past 40 years and we're excited to hit 50 in 10 years. So yeah, it's gonna be a great bonfire. So it'll be quite a spectacle. Make sure you make it out for that. And then when we conclude the event at 8:30, we'll be setting off some fireworks for everybody. There will be a second set of fireworks at midnight that night as well. For folks who may be working during the 8:30 fireworks or otherwise occupied, you can still enjoy fireworks for the new year. So we'll be celebrating all of that. If you have questions about that event or you'd like to participate as a volunteer or sponsor or otherwise, please give us a call at 928-759-3090 or stop by the Parks and Recreation Department and we'll get you set up. And if there's any events that you'd like to help us out with, whether that's learning how you can participate as a volunteer or generally helping with events, or if you just want to know more information about what we have going on throughout the year, give us a call, 928-759-3090. We are always having something going on. So make sure you call us, stop by, check out the website, www.pvaz.net. You can find us by going to the department link and clicking on Parks and Recreation. You can sign up for classes there, see our events, get the calendar, do all kinds of fun stuff. So check it out and make sure to contact us because we have stuff going on for you. Any questions about the New Year's stuff or Polar Bear?
We're signing up Brady.
Oh, good. Good.
But we decided he's going to plunge. He's going to retire from me eating ice cream competition because we feel that nobody can beat our Brady.
I mean, there are...
Nobody can beat our Brady.
He did a very good job.
When he puts his mind to something, he's serious.
It's the Cabral spirit.
It's the Cabral spirit. So, hope a lot of fun.
Thank you,
Great way to
Marty.
start 2019 New Year's Eve at the Prescott Valley Event Center, and again the Polar Bear Splash at Mountain Valley Splash Pool. So, thank you. January 5th, right? January 5th. We'll see you there at 10 o'clock. Okay, joining me now next, I'm going to invite up our Deputy Chief James Edelstein, Prescott Valley Police Department, along with Pan Detective Ryan Spriggs to talk a little bit about drugs and what has been happening in our community. Many of you have been reading a lot in the newspaper, and they're just going to give you some oversight and insight on how we can help make a difference in our community and take care of our kids. So please, gentlemen, welcome.
Thanks for having us, Marnie. There's a real problem in our community, but it's not unique to our community, and that's that we have a increase in the amount of overdose deaths due to fentanyl in particular. But I want to go back a ways to probably about 3 decades ago to the origin of this problem, and then I'm going to turn it over to Detective Spriggs, who knows a lot more in particular about this topic because of his experience in the Narcotics Task Force. So about 30 years ago, Big Pharma pushed opiates heavily through doctors and the medical system. And as a result, they started prescribing opiates at a rate that they hadn't before because essentially many of the pharmaceutical companies told them that these substances would not be addictive, and in fact they are. They are extremely physically addictive. And so in recent years, probably going back about 10 years, even 15 years ago, there was a large push to start to restrict the amounts of opiates that doctors were prescribing. So we had a shift from legal pharmaceuticals that people were becoming addicted to, and a lot of those individuals, as well as others, shifted their focus from using prescribed medications to get their high, essentially, to using those substances that they could get on the street. And so I'll turn that over to Detective Spriggs for a moment, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you, sir. Approximately 5 years ago, here in our community in Yavapai County and statewide, nationwide, there was a heavy dependence on prescription opioid drugs. At the time, as crackdown started occurring with doctors and patients recognizing that these were addictive substances, they became illicit, and you could purchase those drugs on the street. At the time, they were going for about $5 per pill. Translate into modern time, those same pills are going for $1 a milligram, which typically what we're seeing is $30 a milligram. Obviously, people that are addicted and have an opioid substance abuse problem can't afford $30 a milligram for a pill. The cartels smartened up, it's business for them, and they decided to make heroin, which is just as effective and the same thing, much cheaper and much more available, thus sparking the heroin epidemic that we're seeing. That really began up here in 2015. It started to taper off when we started seeing an increase in methamphetamine use once again here. But as of late, we're battling a new type of opioid, which is synthetic opioids, man-made research chemicals such as fentanyl. And one of the biggest things that I want to bring up to the community is that these fentanyl doesn't just come in prescription form. There is a lot of illicit fentanyl out there on the street, whether it's in powder form or pill form. What's happening is drug cartels are getting their hands on research chemicals out of China. They're taking those chemicals, albeit fentanyl, in different compounds, which there's over 1,400 different compounds of fentanyl, and they're pressing it into pills. These pills are referred to as mimic pills oftentimes. They look identical to an oxycodone 30 milligram pill that you would get prescribed by your doctor. Same color, same shape, size, imprint. What's happening, those are not coming from a doctor. They do not contain oxycodone. It is fentanyl. Fentanyl is a very lethal substance. Some fentanyl analogs we're seeing up to 10,000 times stronger than pure morphine. So I want everybody in the community to be aware of these pills, of the existence of these pills. Also on top of that, know that these pills can be shaped into any form that you want to shape them into, any color you want to shape them into. So it's not just the Oxy 30 milligram pills that we're seeing. We're seeing it in Xanax bars. We're seeing it in gel capsules, over-the-counter drugs. So be very cognizant of what you and your loved ones are taking and putting inside of your bodies.
So it's really an alarming topic. You know, when I was growing up, my mom told me that, the first time you try it could kill you. And back then, I don't know how true that really was because I never tempted fate. However, today, that statement is 100% true. I read an article today. There's substances out there called carfentanil, which is used legitimately in zoos to sedate elephants. Cartels are starting to mix that into the drugs that they produce. Why do they do that? Well, number one, they can make a lot more money by making drugs out of things that they don't have to produce by using natural substances. Heroin is made with something that you have to grow. If there's a bad crop, they can't make as much heroin. So now they can just go to China or make it themselves and then produce it much more cheaply. The other thing they're after is they're looking to get people addicted to drugs. And these synthetic opioids, they act and mimic the same kind of euphoria and high as opiates provide. Something else to be aware of is that they're mixing them into all kinds of other drugs. There are documented cases where fentanyl's been mixed into cocaine, obviously heroin. There are cases we hear of, although we've not seen it here in Yavapai County, of it being applied in a mist to marijuana. And then obviously, as Detective Spriggs stated, we're seeing it in those mimic pills, which to the layman are going to look like prescription pills. Now, what are we doing to combat that? I can tell you that our narcotics task forces and all law enforcement agencies across Yavapai County, the state, and the nation, really. And now, more recently, internationally, have come to realize that we've got to do something to combat the importation and distribution of, in particular, fentanyl, but continuing with all drugs in general. So recently here in Yavapai County, several arrests have been made on individuals who in particular are transporting fentanyl pills from the Phoenix area to Yavapai County for distribution. So I'm happy to say that we have been making those arrests for years. We continue to do so. Unfortunately, we're not going to arrest ourselves out of this problem. There are three things that we look at in the criminal justice system, in particular in law enforcement when it comes to trying to eradicate drug problems. It's treatment, prevention, and enforcement. So we just spoke about enforcement. Our treatment community here in Yavapai County and Prescott Valley is very aware of this problem. There are a lot of resources available to you in Prescott Valley. In particular, we have the West Yavapai Guidance Clinic and several other providers that are out there ready to help anybody who has an addiction problem and needs treatment. I encourage you to seek help. This last piece, and I think really the most important piece, is prevention. Parents need to be parents, not friends. And when it comes to drugs, if you're sitting around in your living room watching movies that sensationalize the use of illicit drugs, you are reducing your kids' perception of danger. And that is the number one thing that's going to prevent kids from getting into drugs, is if they believe that drugs and alcohol are dangerous. Unfortunately, we just got the results of the 2018 Criminal Justice Survey. Every 2 years they do a survey of all of the kids in 8th, 10th, and 12th grades in Yavapai County. In our county, 56% of those kids did not see alcohol or illegal drugs as dangerous. We've got to turn that perception around. And if we can do that, I truly think that we can turn this problem.
Thank you so much, Deputy Chief Spriggs. Again, something we're going to keep following up on, bringing you back, continuing to communicate with the community how important this issue is and what everybody can do to help. Nothing serious happens again. We just got to, but you're doing a great job out there. Those arrests were excellent. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Food for thought, something to think about. And if you do have any questions, please, you can call the Prescott Valley Police Department, and they'll be more than happy to discuss any of these opportunities and possibilities of educating your children, educating what you can be doing to help in our community with this. So thank you so much. All right. I'd like to introduce Vice Mayor Laura-Lee Nye joining us as we wrap up 2019, and she's here for Mayor Skoog, but she's always a delight, and we love her. So come on in, and she's been the cheerleader for the 40th anniversary celebration all year long, so it's only appropriate that you end the year like you began it. So, Laura-Lee.
And you know what? That's one of the achievements for our past years, our successful 40th anniversary. Woohoo! Well, I'm actually covering, as Marnie said, for Mayor Skoog. So my job today was to share the achievements that Harvey felt were important. And our number one thing he told me on the phone was our strong financial health. He told me we have right at $22 million in our reserve fund. Think reserve, people. And guess what? We paid off a couple of huge bonds. Most cities never get successful enough to pay off any. We paid off more than one. We have one of the lowest crime rates in northern Arizona. And of course, as you just experienced, we have one of the best police departments ever. Keep in mind, these are our mayor's words, and I agree with every one of them. We have an exceptional town staff, and currently there's approximately 16,000 private and public sector employees in Prescott Valley. 16,000. Who knew? And we're business strong. To give you a real current example, PrintPack is adding a $40 million expansion, and And with that will come, I love the number 40, 40 additional new staff. That is fabulous. His number 5 point was, as of May 2018, the town was growing between 50 and 60 new homes per month. Per month. And in addition to that, we have the duplexes, the apartments, etc., that's not even counted in that 50, 60. And then number 6 he wanted me to share was, we had a tax increase. Now, it wasn't last year, but he wanted me to talk about the results. He's very, very pleased at how wisely those taxes have been used on streets and infrastructure and at the police department. Now, we're going to pull a little trick on Harvey because Harvey gave me a document in August that I found, and he was kind of putting his thoughts together as he ends his 26 years of service. And I've just selected some of them. Harvey wanted to talk to me about the core functions of local government. It's to protect private property rights, enforce the rule of law, and provide a court. Maintain adequate provisions for public safety. Provide continuing water and wastewater services. Provide safe, efficient, and maintained infrastructure. We all want that. So I wasn't surprised to read this. Another thing he wrote that I just love is government should try to keep life simple. Woohoo! Yeah, I love that. Now, there's much more here, but I had to pick and choose due to limited time. These are thoughts Harvey wrote as he's approaching his term of service. He wants us, and he's thinking forward. He wants us to promote infrastructure upgrades, encourage job growth opportunities, persevere in keeping a good audit reports. The reason he put that in there is because the town always wins the award. And he wants us to embrace workforce development and education. There's more and more and more, but I want to have a little fun. We got to all the serious stuff. Harvey always had interesting rapport with citizens, and he had to hear the same complaints over and over. We moved here because we like a smaller community, blah, 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 blah. Here was his answer, because they didn't want any more roads, they didn't want any more buildings. So what do you want? Do you want us to put gates of entry, Harvey's words, into the community now that you are here? You indicate your move because you liked it here. Most others like it here too. Yes, there is an option. If you wish to tie up the property with the effect of stopping anyone from moving here, the solution is simple. Buy up all the land and enjoy property rights. And control that any property owner has. Now, that's a Harveyism. Harvey, we're going to miss you in many ways. Here's some of the ways we're going to miss you. The leaderships take initiative. Leaders furnish direction. Leaders are people with vision. Leaders proceed toward definite results. Leaders share leadership and empowerment with others. Leaders satisfy and encourage those who offer legitimate dissent. Legitimate. Leaders facilitate understanding, knowing there will be compromise. Leaders induce, persuade, drive, impact, compel, coerce, conduct, and direct. Leaders forge strong communication and constructive dialogue so that ideas can be brought into a forward motion to assume a future more promising than the fact. That's the legacy that we are left with our beloved Harvey Scoot, and which all of us should take to heart. Carry that forward. He said, if you were going to campaign, develop your vision, expect opposing opinions. Imagine that. Promote open communication. Manage conflict and resolve differences. Be tactful and persuasive without controlling. My favorite. Build on the strength of others. Candidates cannot do it for themselves. Thank you, Harvey. You're still a blessing in our lives and will continue to be so. So, what did you think about the Harveyisms, Ronnie?
Oh, I loved Harveyisms. I'm going to miss him stopping in the well, he promised he would still stop in the
Yes.
office and check in and visit with us. But from all of us at the Chamber, he's been an exceptional leader. We appreciate his passion for the business community, his complete support, his attendance. He's just been a wonderful, wonderful mayor, not only for the citizens, but for the businesses and everyone in Prescott Valley. So, but we wish him happiness
Yes.
in his retirement, because all the rest of us are going to keep working next year in 2019. We'll be back, right, Laura?
We are, because we got to take care of his desires for the future.
That's right. We continue that legacy. And from all of us here at the Prescott Valley Chamber of Commerce, it's the fourth night of Hanukkah. We wish our friends a very happy Hanukkah. And for everyone, a very Merry Christmas. We'll be back in 2019, so we wish you a very Happy New Year. Be safe out there, be careful, and come back and join us next year. Thank you all, and have a great holiday.